throughout this political year, our one-man truth squad, Brooks Jackson, has been tracking the candidates' commercials and their finances. He's standing by now in Washington. Brooks?
Catherine, in any presidential race, there are a lot of winners and losers that aren't on the ballot. They're the people who put money down on the presidential race, who back the candidates, who back the political parties. We asked the National Library on Money and Politics to calculate for us where those special interest contributions were going. And we took a combination of the money given to the presidential primaries of Bill Clinton and George Bush, to the political parties, from executives of various industries, from political action committees, and from the companies themselves. Here's what we found. The pro-Clinton industries, those industries that broke for the Democrats or for Clinton's primary, included lawyers and lobbyists. 56% of their money went to Clinton or to the Democratic Party. That included the Trial Lawyers Association. You heard a lot about that from George Bush during the campaign. He said Bill Clinton is in the trial lawyers' pocket. And indeed, 89% of their money did go to Bill Clinton and the Democrats. Labor unions, political action committees primarily, their money 98% to the Democrats and to Bill Clinton. Hollywood money, TV and movie production people, almost $2 million, 85% of that to the Democrats. Not surprising, because you heard Dan Quayle throughout this campaign waging war on Hollywood, said Hollywood just didn't get it. Pro-Bush industries, there were a lot more of them than there were pro-Clinton industries. Finance, real estate, Wall Street, more than $20 million, and 73% of that to George Bush and the Republican Party. Energy, chiefly oil and gas, which was George Bush's industry when he was in business, 78% to George Bush and the Republicans. The healthcare industry, doctors didn't like what they were hearing from Bill Clinton about the need for government cost controls on healthcare. 2/3 of their contributions to Bush and the Republicans. Next, agribusiness, 77% to the Republicans, including tobacco money, the biggest contingent of that, 2/3 of that to the Republicans. Beer, wine, and liquor went overwhelmingly to George Bush and the Republicans. Next, we see the automobile industry, 91% to George Bush. He was constantly harping throughout the campaign on Bill Clinton's support for higher mileage standards. The auto industry didn't like what they heard from Clinton. They liked what they heard from George Bush. The chemical industry, the president referred to Al Gore as Mr. Ozone. The chemical industry liked what they were hearing from President Bush, 81% of their money to the president and to his party. Surprisingly, perhaps, military contractors didn't give a whole lot, and that went marginally to the Republicans. Now, looking at congressional campaign spending, one of the things we know for sure is that in past years, spending had leveled off in Congress, chiefly because there wasn't much competition. But this year, we have already reached $445 million, as much as was spent last year, and that was 3 weeks before the election. We're projecting well over $600 million going to candidates for the House and Senate in this election year, the most expensive congressional elections by far. And Catherine, one of the things that we'll be trying to keep track of tonight and report on later, or perhaps tomorrow, will be who is financing those congressional races. Will the new Congress be more or less beholden to special interests than the last Congress? Catherine?
Brooks, one for each camp. Tort reform is a question I have about the Democrats. They were giving money, the trial lawyers, to Bill Clinton. That was a big issue for the Republicans. And on the other side, finance and real estate industry giving a lot of money to President Bush. Asked questions about the S&L crisis, about the banking industry in this country. What happens to both of those major issues?
Well, Bill Clinton's stated position on tort reform is practically identical with the position of the Trial Lawyers Association. You won't be hearing from Bill Clinton what you heard from George Bush: let's stop all those crazy lawsuits. You're just not going to hear that unless Bill Clinton does a pretty big turnaround on that issue. As to the banking industry, as to S&Ls, a very small amount of that finance and real estate money came from S&Ls. There just aren't many S&L executives left, apparently. A lot of it did come from banks, and that's a big question mark. Both Bill Clinton and George Bush have said that the banking system is basically sound. A lot of people think it's not basically sound. And it's going to be a big question, really, what Bill Clinton does about it. There are some underlying problems in the banking industry that a lot of people think need to be dealt with. On the other hand, banks are making record profits at the moment, chiefly because of low interest rates.
All right, Brooks Jackson, thanks very much. And our coverage continues right after this.
CNN's election coverage is brought to you in part by Merrill Lynch. We're bullish on the future. And by the new Dodge, a division of the Chrysler Corporation.
Every presidential election in the 20th century has had enormous implications for America and the world. Through it all, Merrill Lynch has understood those implications, and we continue to use that understanding to help you shape your future as we move forward together.
Suppose you wanted to make a chair as stable as can be. Where would you put the legs? Right at the corners, right? Now, suppose you wanted to make a car as stable as can be. Where would you put the wheels? Right. That's why the new Intrepid is so remarkably stable. The wheels are pushed out toward the corners. The further we pushed, the more stable and sure-footed it became. Intrepid. This changes everything.
Museum Moderne Kunst, Vienna.
The legendary watch dial.
Museo de Arte Contemporaneo, Caracas.
Exhibited in distinguished museums around the world.
Staatliche Museum für Angewandte Kunst, Munich.
Is the design inspiration for the Movado Museum collection of watches.
Victoria and Albert Museum, London.
Movado, the museum watch.
There's only one way I know how to drive. Straight.
If you've been drinking, pick someone else to do the driving. A message from Budweiser.